It is the third model of the Gridman Universe collaboration of 2023. It is GDM02 Kaiser Grid, with a kit of Self-Restore, Inferno, Microwave, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Revenger, which restores a little extra HP to restored or fixed parts when using a restore action. Now, as the third model introduced, naturally you'd expect this model to come packing a lot of high power and high specs, and you most certainly are correct in both of those aspects. Much like Full Power Grid, which we got last week, Kaiser Grid is packing the heat, the armor, and the power right behind it, with an even more so aggressive kit that, albeit may take some time to charge, once fully charged can lay waste to absolutely anyone. Self-Restore on the head is a brand new skill being introduced into the game, which, simply explained, is much essentially like All Restore or even Reverse to a point, where it restores all active parts to a live but damaged target. But, as an additional caveat, instead of restoring 10% HP to a part, much like standard restore actions do, Self-Restore will instead give you 50% of your HP back, which means you're going to be just a little tankier and able to hold your own just as well without being clocked just as quick as you restored the parts. Inferno on the right arm is a very powerful shooting skill that gets a damage bonus relative to the user's charge gauge, similar to Charge Buster or Microwave in this instance, or Ghost Shot, but as well has an extra feature to it. Upon attacking a target with Inferno, it does also have the blow away mechanic to it, which means that if the target somehow lives the onslaught and the salvo, they will be pushed all the way back to start, essentially as a good way to nuke them and stall them on top of that. Upon completing this turn, Inferno also means that the arm will self-destruct upon use, rendering it unusable until the part is restored. Left arm of Microwave is essentially the same thing of a damage bonus relative to your charge gauge and very high power and high damage output, as well as the self-destructing upon use. Naturally though, it unfortunately does not pack the blow away mechanic that Inferno does, but all the same is just as nasty, just as powerful, and just as chaotic if used in the right hands. Float Legs also means that he will have very good coverage across all terrains moderately well at A rank across the board, and when it comes to stats, again, as you'd expect, he's packing a very healthy HP pool and a very good base power and leg stats on top of that. A hit HP of about 5,000 is very good, right arm of 4,100, left arm of 4,000, and legs at 4,500 as well. Very, very healthy HP pool across the board means he can tank the hit moderately well without it crippling him too easily. Leg stats as well are very nice at a mobility of 888 at just shy of 900 there, so very good base speed right from start. An evade of 1246 is very good too, as this does mean he will have a pretty solid time dodging or grazing attacks if he's not slapped with a no dodge penalty in cooldown or an ailment. A melee resist of 1024 and a shoot resist of 1036 means that while he's certainly not superb in the damage reduction department, once the stat bonuses and terrain bonuses come in, he's actually going to be moderately well-rounded across the board. Plus, the fact that his legs support 3 heavy parts means you can use him very versatilely pretty much no matter where he's at. And the Revenger ability does tie in pretty nicely with Self-Restore, as it means he will get just a little bit more on top of that 50% upon activation. This being said, though, as a pure set scorer, I do sadly have to rate him probably the lowest thus far of the collab bottles for the Gridman universe, at a 6 out of 10, primarily for a number of reasons. It's not the fact that he has no base power or no armor or good stats, because he's most certainly packing all those, and Revenger and Self-Restore do synergize moderately well with each other too as a way to restore lost HP or broken parts. But the catch to it is, with Self-Restore, he only gets one use, which means you're only allowed to bring the arms back by himself once, and then after that, Kaiser Grid's going to be kinda stuck there. In addition to this, Inferno and Microwave are also very largely Metaforce reliant for their damage bonuses, which means if you want to capitalize on them, he is going to need to take a few turns to charge Metaforce, which will leave him open or stall and make it harder for allies to buy him time to do so. And once his arms are broken, that's effectively it for him. Now, even though Revenger does give him a second Encore, and Inferno and Microwave rely on Metaforce charge and not HP like Sacrifice, this does mean you essentially can go in for that Encore for a turn 3 and 4 once you have a charge going. But again, once you use those up, that's essentially it. Lastly, he also is triple heavy, which means that he will be very, very susceptible to anyone that is using gravity skills to really easily lay waste to this heavy power mech type once he's on the field. As mixed parts, though, I do have to rate him significantly higher at an 8.5 out of 10. While the synergy of his kit by itself is rather odd, if I'm being completely honest and blunt about it, if you were to mix his parts up and use them elsewhere, Inferno or Microwave for instance as examples, and pair them off with someone using First Aid and Full Charge, then you can start really cooking with some good damage dealing and the ability to encore it over and over and over again every other turn without having to essentially sit there and wait either to charge Metaforce or wait for someone to fix your arm. And float legs with a support with a heavy limit of 3 honestly are something you can use just about anywhere without any major issues. And of course, anyone that is using a restore skill such as First Aid, Restore, All Restore, or Reverse means Revenger will give him just a little bit more HP back once that part is restored to them.